So, do you want to start by just introducing yourself?
Yeah, thank you so much. My name is Samuel Sebit Emmanuel, and a musician, and aka name is Samse Sam. So Samse is a connection of the two names. From Samuel, there's Sam, and then from Sebit, there's the SE that makes the name Samse Sam, and then the Sam is fantasy. Yeah, I'm a musician and an activist, but also the founder of the Talent Initiative for Development, a youth-led organization in South Sudan that uses the power of creative arts to support peace building, and we focus with music for peace festivals. We do music, dance, and drama competitions. We also do sports as an avenue of uniting masses for peaceful coexistence. Apart from that, we also focus on peace building, where we train young people and local leaders in peace building and conflict management and resolution, but also element of governance where we focus on building the capacities of youth to become leaders in their communities and also collaboration with the local authorities around. So, and then the other angle we work on is the youth empowerment program, where we also uh, enhance the capacity of young people with skills. And right now, one of the focus areas that we're looking at is the technology area, where we want to train them to become photographers, to become videographers, also to be filmmakers, among others, but also to be in position to have an opportunity to use these skills to be able to earn income for themselves to support their livelihoods. Yes.
So, can you talk a little bit about what led you to starting Tide?
As a musician in particular, I felt we have the power. In South Sudan, music has the power of uniting so many people. But also, starting Tide was inspired by my personal story. My grandparents were born in the war, and my parents were born in the war. They also died in the war, and then now I am here today with also other young people who also lost also their relatives and parents in the struggle for an independent South Sudan today that we have. So in this process, I looked at an angle of never wanting again to continue probably experiencing the violence, the conflicts altogether that is happening in the country. So as young people, we have got the power to be able to unite. Our country has, in the previous census that was done in 2008, we have about 12 million people an estimate. And then 72% of the population are young people like me and among others that are also younger. So you would see that if this highest number of youth are not engaged with in programs that can keep them busy from being lured into crimes, but also even being lured to pick arms to fight and kill their own brothers and sisters, it will be so difficult. And now with conflicts, we see that the music and creative arts alone has the power to unite people despite ongoing sets of violence. So people listen to musicians a lot. Back home, they listen to music. So if you're going to use music and sports, among others, to bring people as a medium of mobilizing people, then that is the power that we seek and bring. Based from experiences in 2016, when there was a lot of intercommunal violence between the refugees in Rhino camp, where they're sheltering, we were able to have a concept written and titled The Kifaya, when the idea of Tide was still loosely operating, not registered actually as a non-profit back in South Sudan. So we looked at what can we be able to do as artists to mobilize and unite our own people. So then the idea came in that I wrote the concept note for Kifaya, which was supported by the Agency for Open Culture and Critical Transformation, ROC, in Berlin, through the Defy Head Now project that was running on mitigating hate speeches in South Sudan as impact in the ongoing phase of violence. So they were able to love the concept and they supported the idea, where then I mobilized artists from Kampala, and then in Rhino Cam and BDBD were brought down to Koboko. We had a training there for them on peace building and conflict management, but also hate speech mitigation and be able to write information or messages that are countering violence online and offline, and then also how to verify images that are or informations that are not true, because there's a lot of propaganda in an event that there's an ongoing conflicts of violence in South Sudan. So after training this artist, and then I was looking at what is the one piece that we can be able to put out so that can reach out to so many people, since we're already artists from the 3 different regions of South Sudan who have got different following and different platforms that we can use to reach out our people. Importantly, we also live in those communities where the refugees are. So it is important being part of the peace building processes and part of the solution creation team in the camps, and be able to ensure that our people are able to peacefully coexist. So, and then I wrote the song Kifaya. Kifaya is an Arabic word that means enough. So we're trying to say is enough for this ongoing kind of violence, intercommunal fights in the camps, but also the war in South Sudan. Is trying to create, the part is to focus on creating a peace village where we South Sudanese can be able to live in without discrimination, hate speeches, and division among others, but be able to embrace ourselves and promote cultural diversity. We are a rich country that's about 64 tribes. Now, if we're able to use these 64 tribes in a positive way, we can be able to influence behavioral change and be able to be peace builders that then can use our cultures to promote social cohesion and be able to leverage on that opportunity in strengthening more of cultural diversity. So that's why we look at the art. So we had an event that was done on the International Peace Day, 21st of September in 2018, the first Music for Peace concert that we held, and it was really massive. A lot of people came in, an estimate of about 5,000 people came to attend the show at the Luruja Food Distribution Center, and different artists were performing. And also, as performances were going on, we have opportunities for poets to present in their poems. We've got also actors and actresses to present dramas on issues that affect them locally there as South Sudanese communities. But they also live with the host communities from Uganda. So there was that kind of also an interface where even the violence between the host communities and the refugees themselves. So we want to put an end to all those. So in the process here, we have got also artists that are from the host communities like Freeboy, Rose Parsamar, among others, and then the South Sudanese musicians who comes now from the diverse cultural backgrounds, being able now to translate the messages. Because for me, I was saying, yeah, you come from a community A that speaks a particular language. It is important that you sing in your language so that your people can be able to understand it. He is our own, or she is our own artist that is trying to communicate to us. So there's going to be a direct connection between this. When somebody from your particular tribe is talking to you, you can be able to listen from than another person coming from somewhere. So the approach is using different languages in the song so that it can reach so many communities in South Sudan. So that really happened, and we had the concert, and there was a lot of changes that happened behind there. I can just say until now, well, we've never heard of any very serious and a big intercommunal violence that happened again among the refugees themselves in Rhino camp. But then we looked at now, um, finishing my studies in Uganda, and then now we said a lot of work needs to be done home. Actually, not actually in the camp, because the biggest population of people are yet in South Sudan. So we need to go back home. So when I went back in 2019, then 2020 now, we registered Talent Initiative for Development, right, as a non-profit making organization that now, so that we're able now to have a team that is actually able to fundraise, be able to apply for funding in a formal way, because also sometimes you cannot be able to get funding. Funders want to know, like, at least, are you a registered entity? Do you have a physical office before we entrust you with our resources to do? Maybe sometimes there's already a mistrust that is happening around, maybe due to past experiences. So we registered the organization in 2020, and then we continued struggling to lobby for funding through. Unfortunately, that first year we cannot be able to get anything. But then in 2021, amidst the COVID-19, we're able to receive a small grant from the Global Youth Mobilization, which was a funding that was given to support different youth through the local solution programs. And this was supported by the Big Six partner organizations, through also the World Health Organization and among others, to be able to put out projects that can be able now to bring hope to the youth fighting actually the aftermath of the COVID-19. So we had the project Space from a Healing, which we applied, and then we're able to get funded. Though it's not actually the full amount that we requested for, but then we were given at least an amount to start. And that was where we began our special trauma healing project, where we trained young people on leadership and community involvement so that they are part of the solutions. They are part of the community structure in terms of managing the affairs of the governance levels at their communities. And then also we had the training on gender-based violence prevention. We are talking about a dialogue among the young people to get to know what are the gender-based violence practices at the family level, because many times we focus on violence at a bigger level. We forget that the violence, it begins from the smallest unit, that is the family. So we need to see what are some of those practices that are happening in the families, and what can we do as young people together to use our voices, and then to be able to reach to so many communities, spreading messages of preventing such violence. And then we had also the trauma healing, where we work now with students from secondary schools, because many times also they are left out in such programs. And then we're able to go to one of the schools called St. Peter's, and we had about a good number of people that participated in the training, and it was really an eye-opener for us, looking at the need by young people to have some of these activities throughout in the schools, because they felt they've been neglected out. And then through that we continued. Then in 2022, towards the end of last year, then we were able to have a project supported by the German Development Corporation, that is GIZ, on music for peace and reconciliation, where now we use music as a tool to mobilize communities together. And then by that we work with musicians, with poets, with the also comedians all together, and then the local authority back home, and also the community leaders, to see that we are all stakeholders in bringing the peace in South Sudan. And that was under the program Strengthening the Peace Process in South Sudan, that is being funded by GIZ. So we're able to apply, and luckily enough with our approach, we're able to get the funding and do that. So we train the musicians as well and community leaders, and we work also with the law enforcement agencies like the police, because part of that was looking at the peace agreement was on the security sector reform. So we have the police as part of our team, and we're able to really collaborate and implement the project successfully. And then we held the Music for Peace Festival, which was in actually February, on the 11th of February this year, and at the Year Freedom Square, and we have a huge crowd of about 3,000 to 4,000 people that came actually to the Freedom Square to listen to the messages of peace, and then listen to the musicians also perform, and different other peace stakeholders that are part of the peace building process. So through then we're able now to have, after day when that project ended, unfortunately it's for 2 months, and most of the project we get are 2 months or 3 months. So then GIZ was interested to work with us more, and then now they told us to put another concept, which we did now on strengthening gender equality and peace. Now we went further, now we're working with students from high schools, and then also the police again as a partner, but also the traditional leaders on ground, through which we had programs on gender equality conferences. We had governance, where we work with PTS, and then we also train the students in particular, among other programs that we're able to hold. And we have the sports between the police and the secondary school teachers, and then the music, dance, and drama among secondary schools, and then the radio engagement programs that we run talk shows every month as an opportunity to also broadcast messages on the rule of law and gender and peace and education, among others. So briefly, this is some of the programs that we run as the Talent Initiative for Development. Unfortunately, the challenge we face right now is competing with already big organizations that are on ground for funding opportunities, and sometimes it's really very hard as an emerging grassroots organization that has had a lot to do. And in our projects, we will actually ask questions. Why do you only have short-term 2 months, 3 months project, yet you have good projects that and good activities and programs that are engaging different youth? We felt this is an area that we need to have a lot of focus in that. But of course, we keep telling them probably maybe this could be the beginning of other bigger and long-term projects, because also it is true that we cannot be able to have a lot of impact in 2 months' time and 3 months' time. We need to have a longer project, so then it can be an avenue for us to reach more people, and then can create a lot of impact on the young people. A lot of people are also traumatized. So using arts as a tool also to promote peace and trauma healing is a very good approach, because then it goes beyond the one-on-one counseling session that just you have with the counselor, but it has to go beyond that spectrum, that you can be able to have other activities to keep you engaged, and then to be able also to control the youth from getting engaged and convinced by politicians even to get into crimes and use that even to be elements of, tools for waging war. And right now, those are some of the challenges we face. The young people, if they're not engaged, kept busy, then definitely it will be quite challenging for us. Yes.
So a lot of people don't think about the arts, music as being related to development. Why do you think that there should be a connection between arts and development?
Just to be honest, I want to be honest that the arts is part of our development. There's no way we can actually underestimate the power of creative arts in development processes. Like I talk about trauma healing. Again, individually, we have a lot of traumas. Either can be at the individual level or the family, but even as when wars happens like this, a lot of people losing their relatives, their parents, and more, even their own properties, which they invested a lot actually to put outdoors. So that becomes quite challenging. Now we also say when there's stability through the arts, we're able actually to create space for healing, but also the arts itself can be able. Like, let's talk about an angle of filming, an angle of photography, an angle of graphic designs. So there's a lot of connectedness that we have from the art that is able to bring people together, mobilize us, and then we can have then, be it politicians, be it community leaders, come in between to be able to pass their messages. But also looking at how art is creating opportunities for growth and employment also for many young people. Today we have videographers, filmmakers, we've got musicians who are able to earn a living through that. And then we've got also people that are using their creativity in either tailoring and also maybe sports. And today they're supporting a lot of people out there. So for us, we felt the arts is a tool that can be used to mobilize masses also for preventing mass atrocities and also strengthening relationships among different people. Just from a perspective, when we had the match between the police and the teachers, it was like an eye opener, and we had a radio talk show now. Communities are calling in, like elders are saying, no, we need to play the police as well. And then the leaders on the ground are saying, no, we also need to play the police, because we understand that maybe through the conflicts were witnessed, like the army people like probably holding guns and killing my maybe relatives and friends that we love so much, and then already a lot has happened in between, and then the trust that we have in between us and then the law enforcement agencies is actually broken. Now when you see them coming together, working together like this, there's a connectedness between law enforcement and then even how the government does its work, and then also the civil society. So I want to say right now in Africa and in South Sudan in particular, the arts is a section that is really underfunded. It is actually having a small portion of support in terms of peace building. But this is in a moment that actually we want to have the arts more, using it and penetrating to communities, because we are able to move to many communities based on the approach we use. And then we cannot also underestimate the contributions of musicians actually, and then different creative arts practitioners, those that does actually murals to many others in bringing people together. They are actually part of the community. So that missing link is what we want to see come up clearly as talent initiative for development, but also how can we be able to take these models. We believe that also there was happening in so many parts of the world. Now, how can this approach that Tide is using be borrowed and also can be used somewhere else? This is something that actually we felt it is important. Like today, I'm so happy now having IG Map putting out a Jamming for Peace concert. And these are approaches that we want to see bringing different people together. So sometimes people are not interested to listen to leaders because they already know about maybe bad things that their leaders have done. But they are interested to listen to musicians when they come on ground, to even to listen to comedies when they come on ground. So we believe that when you bring that, they're able to come in large numbers. So politicians alone cannot have an opportunity to bring about 1,000 to 500 people actually just on a platform to come and talk to them. They cannot come. But through the arts, musicians can bring a lot of people. So for us, we're seeing that if we can use that and value artists and their contributions in the development processes of our societies, then we can be able to achieve the change that we want to see. So, yeah.
And one final question. What message do you have for young people, not just in South Sudan, but around the world. Why do you think it's so important that young people get involved in peace building efforts and development efforts and in atrocity prevention efforts?
As young people, I wrote a song titled Goa. So Goa is trying to say power. Is an Arabic word that means power. So now, as young people, we have a lot of power in our hands. I just mentioned that 72% of our population in South Sudan are young people. Now imagine this percentage of people being used as tools to promote peace, which means our societies alone can be able to achieve peace. Across the world, even here in the US, let me say, there are a lot of young people. Even at the universities right now, you see here in Binghamton, there are a lot of young people here. Now, these young people avenues for the next generation of leaders we have in actually the US, in South Sudan. It means that if we get them involved right now in the development and management of their communities, and also create opportunities where they're able to have options to choose their different sources of livelihoods, it can be more easy and paramount that we can have a community of young people that are focused more on development, focused more on atrocity prevention, focused more on the use of arts, but focusing more on strengthening relationships and networking across the globe to see so many different energies that are, energies that are being used to unite people, so many activities that they can be able to do in space. Let's look at sports today. We have, for example, the English Premier League that is being played, and a lot of people come just to the stadiums to watch them. What happens there? They chant, they sing songs that encourages people, motivate people, and encourage us to play. The same way we want to see also as young people, we can use those energies positively to become agents of change in your own community, in your own family, even across your country and the continent at large, even in the world. So that is something that we want to see. And then also, I want to see a society where creative arts and music is used as a tool. I'm quite sure maybe here in the US also arts is not being properly maybe used like what we do back. I was telling some, if we had this peace jam in South Sudan, probably could a lot of people that come to actually listen to perform and be part of the peace of the jam. Yes, this is an approach that I feel we can be able to use to mobilize a lot of people, and then we can be able to disengage the young people from being used by politicians to wage war. Because now as politicians and governance, they are looking at, okay, we have this group of people. Then there are a lot of unemployment opportunities. For example, back home, many youth are not employed. Now, if I'm going to be there lacking what to do, no source of livelihood, it means a politicians can just come to me and like, hey, Sam say, I'm forming this party and then we're going to do one, two, three. Maybe I want to fight. And then I will give you money if you join my movement, you join my party. This is what is exactly happening to young people out there because they are vulnerable. They don't have sources of livelihoods. They are not employed. They cannot be able even to stand and have their small activities or income generating programs that can support them and they can be kept busy. So I believe if they're empowered, we can actually be able to say no to senseless wars that are happening across the world. So as young people out there, you have the power and they have the power to change this society. What we need is let us not slide back. Let us get more close to the governance system. Let us be involved in the management of our communities, in the building processes, and also to the leaders out there that are managing our countries, create more spaces for young people to be part of the leadership structure. Because then time would come, we would die. Then who is going to take the country ahead? Many of our leaders died, right? And today, if they set a good foundation, then their legacy continues to see. We are continuing to see more peaceful societies. So I want to see that, yes, my message out to you there is that, yes, however much you want to be in power, create an opportunity for other people, both men and women, to work together and to join you in the development of the country, in the peace building processes of the country, be it education to many others. And let us try to create access to basic needs where the young people can also be able to tap in. In the end, when they are kept busy, trust me, no one would want to go and pick an arm to actually go and fight and sue their own fellow brother and sister for no reason, because then what would happen if I kill these people, if I take an arm to fight? It means I'm also trying to kill a generation of many young people, deprive them of their future of participating. So let's try to put an end to ongoing violence that does not actually benefit us, but instead it will continue to destroy our unity as people across the world, regardless of the color you have. I want to say we have the power to change this world and make it a better place for everyone out there. So thank you.
Thanks, Samse. That was a great note to end on. That was good.
Yes.
Thank you so much.